What's up, guys? We are back with our Week 8 DFS show. I'm your host, Christian Williams, at FF Baldman. I'm here with Randy Hall, a.k.a. Matt Patricia, today. Randy, how you doing, man?
Doing pretty good, man. Not a terrible day at work. The sun came out, so it wasn't the coldest day ever. I mean, it might snow tomorrow, but today was okay.
I'll tell you what, man. I stood in line for 3 hours to vote, so I felt your pain. We were like in and out of the sun and like up against the building. It was really fucking cold. It was awful.
So weird.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are here for some DFS advice, but as you can see in that banner, send us your start sit questions. You can drop them in the comments. You can send them to us on Twitter. We're probably not going to check Twitter while we're on here, so we'll answer afterwards. Send them in the morning as well. We typically get quite a few, and we really enjoy answering those, unlike some major Twitter accounts. So
every time with you.
Oh yeah, I have to start shit. All right, so let's get right into it. As you can see, the tickler across the bottom, ticker. Sorry. See, listen, man, we've gone over this. There's this thing in my work software that we use. It's called a tickler. And I don't know why, but I always say it when I'm talking about tickers. But anyway, we have ThriveFantasy. We have a promo code with them, the Cut. They will match up to $50 with a minimum of $20 deposited. We love it. I know some of you probably use Monkey Knife Fight, but it's not as good as Thrive. So go download Thrive. I believe I got the link in our description, so you should be able to click that link and deposit some money and go win some money. They'll give you some free money. So what we're going to do is give our prop picks for this week. Randy, I'm going to kick it to you.
Okay.
So you can talk about these this week, and I'll give my input, kind of flipping it a little bit.
Oh, rude. Well, the first one we're going to go with is Joe Burrow over 1.5 passing touchdowns. It just feels like one of those games that the Titans are going to be scoring almost at will, I think. Kind of like the Browns for 3 quarters last week. I think that's going to be coming through the air and on the ground for the Titans. So while there's a chance Burrow does have a turnover or two, I think he is going to have to keep throwing. I think he's going to have 2 passing touchdowns. I just do. That offense is starting to come together. I think it'd be even better if Mixon was healthy, but he's starting to get comfortable with Higgins, with Boyd, with AJ Green again. He's starting to roll. Even Mike Thomas, the only one playing.
Oh, poor Michael Thomas, dude. Had to go punch his fucking teammate and then get a hamstring injury. I'll bet Michael Thomas's hamstring injury came from when he was loading up for his punch. He had to pivot and he tweaked his hamstring during it. But anyway, yeah, I'm with you on Joe Burrow.
We just, even though there's some slight like wind concerns, there's kind of like that for like
most of the games,
80% of the games this week. So I don't think it's going to be as much of a problem as people think. And especially because Burrow's not really throwing it like deep. Like his like deepest throws are like a 20-yard back shoulder to AJ. So I really don't think it's going to affect him that much. He does have a really strong arm as well. Christian brought up in a text that he's missing some linemen, but he was missing him last week, and he was still kind of cooking the Browns defense. And so next one.
Kind of about it, by the way.
I know. I'm just saying. Next one, we're going to roll with Keenan Allen over 6.5 receptions. This dude's been killing it lately with Herbert. His last healthy games, he has 13 targets, 10 receptions, 11 targets, 8 receptions, 19 targets, 13 receptions. And
that's fucking insane.
I think Herbert was week 2 as well, and that was 10 targets, 7 receptions. So when he's been healthy with Herbert, he has gotten this every single time. This maybe. Last week with Metcalf seemed like a easy number. This seems like the easiest number of the week to me. Hopefully we don't get trapped like that again with just everyone else being wide open. So I think Keenan Allen's going to kind of kill it because Herbert just feeds him targets. So I think he's getting this easy. Then the next one, this may be shocking to people, but we did this before and we were right. I'm going Patrick Mahomes under 300.5 passing yards. I don't think he has eclipsed 300 the last 2 weeks. They had a blowout last week against Denver. It's going to be even worse this week. I'm not sure Mahomes plays in the second half. I'm not sure Clyde plays in the second half. I'm not sure Hill plays. It's going to be bad. Now, Darnold, he's going to be playing. He's going to be throwing a ton. But Mahomes here under 300.5. I think that's a really good line. He usually, if he does come out swinging for that first half, that just makes it even worse that he's not going to keep playing. They already showed they will be quick to pull him when they're up enough. Because they know they won't be able to come back, especially the Jets. So I think those are 3 pretty solid picks for the week that should hit.
Yes. And, I have a love affair with the Patrick Mahomes under passing yards because that was part of the week, I believe, that I won my wasn't that the first week?
No.
Might not have been. But either way, it ended up winning me money when I went under, what was it, 304.5, I think.
Yeah.
And he threw 303 or some
303
crazy shit
in overtime.
Yeah. So I do like that line, and I am 100% with you that I would be shocked if Patrick Mahomes came out even after halftime, honestly.
I will say, he might have 200 yards in the first half. He might have 4 touchdowns. He might run one in. But again, that means he's not playing the rest of the game. That's how this is working.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess the bad thing would be if the Jets can somehow stay in the game like they did with the Bills, but I don't see that happening.
Yeah, but Mahomes isn't Allen.
Yeah, not at all.
Mahomes, oh, Jesus. Sorry, I switched it to the North Carolina game, and they got close. I don't know what happened. But yeah, I think it's going to be there's so many good games on it. One, this is not going to be one of them.
Yeah, you don't have to watch this game probably. Hey, I'm going to eat my words probably tomorrow morning. It's going to be like a 13-10 game or something in the fourth quarter.
If it's 13-10, I don't think Mahomes is 300 yards, bro.
That's true. All right, let's move into our DraftKings content. So we go over some smashes, values, and then we make a lineup. So Randy, I'm actually going to start with my smashes, even though the doc has it backwards. So first up, my quarterback smash this week is Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, it's a juicy matchup. We already saw him roast this defense, and he's priced pretty fairly at 7,600. I think this is a week that I just think every week that Rodgers goes out there, it's basically he's trying to prove himself because he did have a lot of doubters, Randy and I included, where Aaron Rodgers looked like he was falling off, and now he comes out literally every single week and tells us to fuck off. And I'm cool with it because I'm going to play him in my DraftKings lineups this week. Running back Dalvin Cook, I know you should approach this with some skepticism because Dalvin Cook is still questionable as of right now at 11:01 on Saturday, but I fully expect Dalvin Cook to play. He wasn't on the injury report, and then they edited and put him back on, and I think it's kind of to mess with the Packers. So yeah. I don't really think there's any question that he'll play. 7,500. Ultimately, I mean, I'm pretty sure he's averaging over 20 fantasy points a game. Randy, can you double check that for me really
Dalvin
quick?
Cook?
Yeah.
He's averaging over 20 a game.
He's 24.1. Yeah. So he's been dominant when he's been on the field. And if he's fully healthy, you can expect him to, show out. The aforementioned Keenan Allen at 6,200 is my wide receiver smash. I know that's kind of like a low number for wide receivers, but the top end of wide receivers this week is looking a little grim. You still have Michael Thomas there, but I mean, if you want to play the game between DK or Lockett, that's great. I'm not going to call that a smash, though, because we saw what happened last week with our Thrive pick where we thought DK was for sure going to go off, and then it ended up being a Lockett boom. And I don't think it's another Lockett boom, but you never know. So I went down a little bit. And if we think Keenan Allen's getting 7 receptions, I have to assume that he also get some yards that goes with that and probably a touchdown. So Keenan Allen is in, I believe, every single one of my lineups this week. So
he's in a lot of mine.
Yeah, there are a few guys that are in, I think, all of my lineups. And then at tight end, Jonnu Smith, 4,100. That's just a crazy overreaction, in my opinion. He is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13th ranked, 13th highest priced tight end. He is a top 5 tight end. He's had 2 bad weeks. I get it. He was coming off injury. Well, 2 weeks ago was when he got injured.
Yeah.
And then he was coming off injury last week. I mean, he's going up against the 32nd ranked defense against the position.
It's a crazy. I mean, he's my start of the week, so I'm with you.
And we know my love for Jonnu, so
we both have the love. I just let you have him, so I took Fant. But yeah, yours are crazy good.
Yeah.
Honestly, the only one I guess you could have, like you said, Cook's somewhat on a report. Johnny was technically coming off injury still, but he seems perfectly fine. Rodgers, if it's too cold, but it's Minnesota and Green Bay. They play in the cold. They're gonna be fine. So I think you're all good there. Going into mine, I'm going with rookie Justin Herbert as my quarterback at 6,900. He is just below that top tier of quarterbacks, but he's playing like the top of the quarterbacks. He just came off, I believe, a 40-point week, and I think he had 41.5 points last week against Jacksonville. I think he can do it again. Obviously, I don't think this Denver defense is really anything anymore. Obviously, the Chiefs kind of killed them last week. I think this Chargers offense is getting close to that kind of territory as of late, so I'm really expecting a big day from him. And then I did switch this up last second. I'm going Kareem Hunt. I'm pretty sure I did this last week, but this guy played the most snaps of any running back last week. He played 92% of snaps, percentage of snaps. Yeah. He's only 6,900 again. I don't know how this guy is not in the 7,000s. It's kind of crazy. I just now noticed my top 3 smashes all have 6,900. That's nice. But we've been waiting for this, the complete snap count, RB1 territory for Hunt. We got it last week. We've been waiting for the blowout game that's coming this week against the Raiders, who are just not good on defense. It's just plain simple. I think even though there's a chance 30% precipitation tomorrow and some wins, but there's always wins in Cleveland. So I don't really think either team's going to have trouble. But if it is a trouble, that's great for the running backs in this game. I think Hunt kills it.
Absolutely.
Next, I talked about how I thought the Titans were going to score a lot, and I'm going to go with A.J. Brown, a guy that was hurt, but he ain't hurt no more. He is absolutely killing it, just like Herbert, just like Huntwell this week. I think he might have another 30-point game. I think all these guys, it's hard for me not to put in lineups this week. And then for my tight end smash, I'm going to go Darren Waller. If it is not the greatest weather and there's a lot of wind, Carr's going to be checking down and trying to look Waller a lot, maybe Renfro a bit, but I'm not sure he's going to be chucking 40-yard balls to Aguilar or Ruggs in a windy game. So I think Waller, who's always the top 5 tight end play, I think he hits that this week. He's going to be targeted a lot.
Yeah.
Because the Browns are bad against tight end. It's just true.
Yeah. I'll be honest, dude. When I saw that you took Waller, I was pretty pissed because I went to my lineups and I saw Waller, Jonnu, Waller, and said, "Fuck, I wanted Waller," but that's okay.
Hey, you had ample time to put names in. I went first.
I know, fair enough. All right, that's it for smashes. I think we did pretty well with our smashes last week. And
we had good lineups last week, man.
Yeah, I guess it should be noted.
It was a weird week. I believe our lineups scored. It was over 180. I think it was like 185 or 190. And I cashed where I was playing them, but a lot of the bigger tournaments, people had 200 points that didn't cash last week. It was such a weird week It was because of that extra game, bro. They let the Seahawks be on the slate, and it's Seahawks and Cardinals, and it fucked everything.
It sure did. Well, and I thought I was winning. Like, I think I was quadrupling my money going into that game.
Oh, well, I was well up, and then that game just shot me back down. I still won, but fuck.
Yeah. All right. Let's move into some values. Now, I do want to put a stipulation out here. I had put out a tweet about Denzel Mims being 3,000, which I think he's 3,200. Someone corrected me. But I found a guy that's 3,000, but he's not my actual value, but I'm going to talk about him anyway because I already tweeted about it. I had a last minute pivot. So I don't want to be a liar because I said tune in for it, but also that's not the guy I'm going with. But I'll start with quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo is priced 5,400 this week. Randy wants to stay away from him, which I completely understand. I think this has to be a game that Jimmy Garoppolo has a good game, or they're not going to have a good game. And I guess I'll couple that with the wide receiver that I rolled with in Brandon Ayuk at 5,800. So Jimmy Garoppolo and Brandon Ayuk, I think, are going to have a big day. Brandon Ayuk is my start of the week, which you can go listen to on the Thursday episode with our starts and sits. But they're going to have to throw the ball to keep up. And I know they're getting Tevin Coleman back, and I know JaMychal Hasty has looked good, and I know Jerick McKinnon is on the field. He's healthy despite his tired legs.
But he hasn't played a full year in like 4 years.
Exactly. I'm sure his legs are fucking tired. He's he was carrying the load there for a second. But so I just don't think they're going to turn it over to Tevin Coleman or Jerick McKinnon fully. I don't think JaMychal Hasty is as good as everyone's chalking him up to be. And so I think they're going to have to rely on Jimmy G and Ayuk especially, and Kittle, of course. But
and with Debo out, Ayuk has been taking over the wide receiver running snaps as well. So
yes. And they're
the same. They're the same player, bro. I don't understand why they drafted the same player, but I'll take it, I guess.
It's weird.
He knows what it's to be successful.
Yeah. So that kind of couples my quarterback and wide receiver. I'm gonna move into my running back and then come back. Actually, no, I'll talk about the guy. So Devin Duvernay is priced at 3,000 this week. This is what we've seen so far, and I think it probably happens every year, but I've really noticed it this year, is rookies coming off their bye week get an expanded role. With how bad the Ravens offenses looked, and you can argue that all you want, the Ravens offense has not looked the way it did last year. They're going to need to get Devin Duvernay more involved because the dude is a freaking dynamic playmaker. Randy and I loved him, Randy especially, headed into the draft, and this was almost a perfect fit for him. I know Randy this week is more on the Marquise Brown side, but I think ultimately the Steelers against receivers are not great, despite how great their defense really is. Their pass rush is awesome, but because their pass rush is so awesome, I think that Devin Duvernay is going to be the beneficiary of that. I am a little nervous about the Mark Andrews this week because he's normally the guy that runs the seams and he gets those deep targets. I think Marquise Brown oftentimes gets downfield targets, but he also gets some slants. But I do think a lot of the flats, a lot of the designed runs for Devin Duvernay could be there this week. And at 3,000, like, I am 100% okay putting him into my lineup. And I'll tell you what, last week I did this with Harrison Bryant, and I only played him in one lineup, and I won money with that lineup, but I need to take my own advice and go make like 3 lineups with Devin Duvernay in it.
I will say, obviously I love Duvernay. He's so cheap. He has kind of taken over the slot role from Snead. It's starting to, and I do think he could get an uptick in targets. I believe Steelers are among the top, though, with slot cornerbacks in rankings. I do think Andrews is going to get peppered, so he should still finish as a good tight end, but I understand what you're saying, especially with like Minka, good Lord. And yeah, I mean, he's not going to run the same routes necessarily as Hollywood, who's definitely a slant. I mean, he's got a good route tree, but like he's known for slants and streaks. So kind of he's the Michael Thomas of this team, basically.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. All right. Since I talked about an extra one, I'll be swift with my next two. So DeAndre Swift obviously is my running back value this week. He is also one of my starts of the week, but he's priced at 5,300, which to me is almost criminally low. His usage didn't go as high as I would have expected last week, but I did mention on the Thursday show that I think his usage, he's finally going to get above that 50% threshold for snap counts. And if that happens, he has been really, really good. I mean, he's only scored less than 10 fantasy points on DraftKings scoring once, but he did have that big boom against the Jaguars. I know the matchup isn't ideal. Indianapolis is 5th against opposing running backs, but if you add in Swift's ability to catch the ball, I think he's going to have a big week because ultimately Indianapolis's pass defense is very good against receivers. So I think that's going to limit what Matt Stafford can do this week, Matthew Stafford. And then my tight end, Irv Smith at 3,000. I pivoted off of who the fuck did I have? Originally,
I
had Donald Parham, which I still like. But
but
Irv Smith, a guy who scored in the tens. I think he was 11 or 12 last week. Yeah, so since he had his kind of breakout game where he was priced at 2,500 2 weeks in a row, 10.4, 11.5. This is a game where Jair Alexander is going to take away. We had the debate before. He's taken away one of Thielen or Jefferson. I think it's partially both. Randy thinks it's mostly Jefferson. I think it might be, like I said, both. But that's going to open up some targets for Irv Smith this week. And at 3,000, I'm taking that shot. He needs, 9 fantasy points for 3 times value? It's cake. I think this might be his best week yet.
It very well could be. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on all of them. Just like I said, it's just so hard if they're not getting over. If your quarterback's not getting over 20 points, even if they're hitting 3 times value right now, it's almost pointless because the top guys are just playing so well. So that does speak into mine, though. My value quarterback is going to be Derek Carr for the Raiders, going against the Browns secondary, who is ever hurt and still has Sendejo. So while I do think the weather could affect Carr slightly with all the weapons, he still doesn't even have Edwards back. I don't think he's back this week either. Carr is still killing it right now. I think he's only quarterback 21 in the year for fantasy, but he's starting to get better, and he's actually doing really well. I think he has 23 plus against every bottom half defense, and most of those are 25-30 kind of thing. So I think he does have a good week, and that's getting touchdowns to the fullback even. So at 5,500, this is the price point that Burrow was at last week about, that we said this is disrespectful for a guy that's going to score this many points. I think Carr could do the same thing. Going to my running back, it's going to be another disrespectful price, and that's Myles Gaskin. He's the cheapest starting running back that's actually a true starting running back. I don't know how this guy's $5,200. Jordan Howard's a healthy scratch last time they played, and Gaskin is now the first and second down back, the receiving back, and the goal line back. So he's got this thing locked up. I think he has another big week against Rams, who are a decent run defense, but it's not really that bad of a matchup, especially because he gets the passing work. Going to my wide receiver, I'm going with A.J. Green. The dude has 11 and 13 targets, respectively, the last 2 weeks. I mean, Burrow, like I said, is going to be thrown to try and catch up with the Titans. I don't know how you can't. I understand wanting to play Boyd, but he's a lot more expensive. If you want to pivot to Higgins, I get it. He's gotten the touchdown that A.J. Green hasn't, but A.J. Green's just getting so many targets in the PPR format. He's going to get the touchdown one way or the other sometime here. He's not the A.J. Green of 3 years ago, but he's still A.J. Green. So, and then I am going to use Harrison Bryant as my value tight end because Christian used him last week, and we had to make sure he was on the show. I mean, 3,200. I don't understand how they raised Njoku's price $600 and only raised Harrison Bryant's, I think, 200. Are you DraftKings? What the shit, bro?
I think it was actually 400. I think he was 2,800 last week, but still,
man. Still, how is it still? It's got to be. They clearly want to use Bryant. They clearly have to use the tight end position more and more now. I know the Browns have Hodges back, I believe, this week, so there is some concern about who the second wide receiver and third receiver will be on this team now. But in reality, I think the tight end position is the second or third receiver, and the other one is Kareem Hunt this week. So I think Bryant has another really good game. I don't think he has, 2 touchdowns last week? But he'd probably get 1.
Yeah. I think he's fine in the end zone, which is what I said last week. And I think, I think he does get maybe upwards of 10 targets. I mean, how many targets was Odell averaging per game? I know
he was getting force fed, man. He was.
But then you also have the Hooper targets to account for. So I think, there's a lot of targets to go around, especially in a game where, yes, the weather's going to suck, but the Browns are still going to have to keep up with the Raiders, I think.
Yeah, let's be real here. Raiders outscored the Chiefs, so they can score. It may not be the greatest weather. That doesn't mean they still can't put up 28, 30 points. The Browns are going to have to keep going.
Yeah, I'm with you on all of these. The only one I am and I know we're about to make a lineup with this guy in it, but Gaskin, the matchup isn't phenomenal for him. I know you talked about that, but you said at 5,200, you can't avoid him in your lineups. Well, I overlooked it, and I don't have him in any of my lineups yet, but I'm gonna have to go make some more.
And the thing with him is he's gotten over 20 touches the last 2 weeks. You were coming out of the bye with a new quarterback. I think that means Gaskin gets more and more work, especially against a matchup. It is the Rams. They are the 22nd best matchup for defenses, so the 22nd worst. It's just with 20-plus touches, I think he gets that again. He's got a full spectrum workhorse role now. It's kind of crazy. This guy's come out of nowhere and just kind of done this. And the Rams kind of got run out a bit last week, too. Yeah.
I will say, too.
The only reason they didn't get completely run on with Montgomery and everyone was because, Foles sucks. Whereas I don't think Tua plays that bad, even if – and you could say Ramsey takes away Parker maybe. So maybe we need more targets short to Gesicki and him.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of the argument that I would make is that, we don't know what Tua is going to do. Is Tua going to be able to throw receivers open? Perhaps. I actually like Preston Williams this week, despite Sean sitting him, and I shouldn't go against that. But I do think that Gaskin could be the recipient of a lot more dump downs with a quarterback that, I would assume he's grasping the offense completely, but you don't know. We don't know anything about what Tua.
So here's the thing with the Dolphins situation. Even if they pegged after the bye, we're playing Tua. With how good Fitzpatrick was playing and them not needing to be that bad because the Texans are that bad, so they're going to have a good pick regardless.
Yeah.
They kind of Tua hasn't been doing such good things in practice for them to be you know what? He's close to Fitzpatrick with the same level right now. Yeah. And he's our future. Let's get this guy some reps. That, it can't. There's no way. Past Dolphins, I may say they'd be stupid enough to just be hey, this guy's playing really good. We should just sit him for a rookie no matter what.
Yeah.
But right now they seem better run, especially since they got rid of Gase. So I really think it's more the better. But what I would expect a heavy short pass running back workload to start and let him get into a rhythm. Maybe he gets some deep balls, maybe throws receivers open. I still think Gaskin has a huge day.
Yeah. All right, man, let's move in and make a lineup. And so last week, let's give some background. So last week we put together a lineup beforehand, and then we pivoted on live on the stream. And you know what? I pivoted, yes. So what we're going to do is we made this lineup. We are not pivoting. We're just I don't even think we really need a debate. We're just going to give you the lineup. It's not locked in. I'm not telling you guys to play it, but I'm telling you guys
it's a theoretical lineup.
You can play it, and we'll win you some money. So, Randy, well, okay. So who do we have on this list that we haven't talked about yet? One guy, two guys. One guy.
One guy in a defense.
One guy in a defense. So I guess that's why we can give you this lineup without really debating it. I'll read through it, and then we can talk further about some of these guys. So Justin Herbert at quarterback, Kareem Hunt, Myles Gaskin, Keenan Allen, Brandon Ayuk, A.J. Brown, Harrison Bryant, Jamal Williams, and the Bears defense. Now, if you just joined us or are just joining us and skipped all the way through to here, the two that we obviously didn't talk about, Jamal Williams and the Bears. Randy, I know we debated about for probably 20, 25 minutes about Jamal Williams versus Josh Jacobs.
And Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
And Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So, Randy, why don't you give us the reason for the pivot from Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and I'll give you the reason I want Jamal over Josh Jacobs.
Okay. So we'll get into that discussion in a second. So we had it locked in with the Dolphins defense and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, which we could have pivoted to Justin Jefferson at the same price, but with that, we're not sure where Jair lands in coverage. I don't want to take that chance, really. And with Clyde, he only had 9 touches last week. It's not because of Bell. It's because they were killing the team. He outsnapped Bell. Bell had a couple snaps, but he didn't really do anything with it. The thing is, like, this is a worse team they're going up against. And I don't see how Mahomes hits 300 yards. I don't see how Clyde gets 20 touches. I just think, like, if they clearly showed that they're not going to, like, once they get this certain lead, they're just going to start pulling their guys, and they're going to start running the ball, but they're going to pull Clyde because they want to keep him healthy, and Bell's fresh legs here, so they're going to try and run him. And then they went to Washington for a quarter and a half, it felt like. So that just because I'm not sure he plays that much past a half, I don't think he gets 20 touches this week. He could get 2 touchdowns in the first half off of 9 touches, but with that volume just scares the shit out of me. So that's why we kind of pivoted slightly. And then it came down to Josh Jacobs versus Jamal Williams. And the main difference here is, I think, so there's an obscure stat that if Josh Jacobs scores a touchdown, the Raiders win. He has never scored a touchdown in a Raiders loss.
Yes.
And even the last against the Chiefs, I put the over on Thrive. I thought, fuck it, let's see if the stat works. He got the touchdown. He got 2, actually, and they won. I think he gets a touchdown, which means, unfortunately, I think they beat the Browns in a very, very close game. But Christian isn't sure. He took the under this week on that touchdown. That's probably going to be one of our key differences in Thrive this week. We'll see who wins that money. Yeah. And because he is super against that touchdown, we're going to go Williams, which is kind of a guaranteed workload no matter what. Yeah. And he gets, I mean, I won't say he gets more passing work than Jacobs necessarily, but like it's the same kind of workload, but a much better game script for him probably.
Yes.
Where there's a chance that the Browns go up a quick bit and the Raiders have to pass to get back kind of, but I think Jacobs gets 20 plus touches. I think Jamal Williams gets 20 plus touches, but switching to Williams allowed us to go from, I mean, it was really down to the Dolphins or the Bears defense at that point because the Browns defense we didn't want to trust because the Raiders have Trent Brown back this week, I believe, from COVID. I think it was 49ers who were not playing against Seattle. And then it was like the Lions against Indianapolis, which for 100 more than the Dolphins. So going to Williams, who should have a really good game. We went with the Bears, who have scored 11 points back-to-back weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, so with Jamal Williams, too, and the reason why I want Jamal over Jacobs is kind of that game script. Now, I do want to put a disclaimer out here. If you want, play them both. That's what Randy's doing. I'll probably do the same thing because you can play both and the salaries work out. But with Jamal, the disclaimer is that maybe that weather does affect the passing offenses for Carr and for Baker, and then Josh Jacobs could have a massive fucking game, and we made the wrong choice here. But I don't like Randy said with Carr being his value play. I don't know that it's going to affect them in that dramatic of a fashion. So
yeah,
with Jamal, like you mentioned, the game script, I do like Minnesota's been fairly okay against running backs, but I don't think that they can keep up against the Packers. I don't think they're
and they got absolutely torched through the air last time against the Packers, so I think they're going to try and focus that more.
Yes.
And with the weather, it's basically the same weather up in Green Bay, I believe. And both the Minnesota and Green Bay are perfectly fine playing the cold. Obviously, the Browns are. The Las Vegas Raiders are kind of the odd man out there. Even if it's the same kind of game script and they can't throw the ball a ton, I think Williams gets a ton of work because he got most of the work last week.
And I will say, I'm pretty sure the Packers have produced a top 15 running back every single week, with maybe the exception being the Tampa Bay game because they got their shit rocked because Aaron Rodgers looked like 2019 Aaron Rodgers. But that's another debate for another day. But in games where they have either a plus matchup or a neutral matchup, they produce RB1s. And if we can get an RB1 at 6,100, which is what Jamal is this week, that sounds right. That's pretty damn close to being my smash.
It's close, right. Yeah. And like with the Bears, they're facing New Orleans, who clearly, I think Sanders is playing, but it's not for sure yet. But Michael Thomas is clearly out. I know they have Kamara, but they have so many less targets right now. Breeze isn't playing great. Their line's getting a little bit banged up. I think they get a couple sacks. I think they probably get a pick, honestly. But I don't think it's a high-scoring affair because they have another really kind of bad weather game because I believe it is in Chicago. Yes. So Breeze usually doesn't play as well in those games too. So that's why I'm kind of thinking it's going to be like a 14-10 affair.
Yeah. Well, and so Jared Cook was my smash at 44.
Jared Cook could still get a touchdown. I'm just saying.
Yeah, he is a good play this week, I will say. But the reason I pulled him off of my smash is there's a world where this is just a Kamara Latavius game. And not that those two should really go off against the Bears, but I'll tell you what, Drew Brees in the cold weather and I'm pretty sure the winds, they put out an advisory in Chicago.
I think Chicago was like the same 20 sustained, but it was like 35-40 gusts. So I think the Bears are a huge play this week. Yeah. Obviously, Kamara could rush in 6 touchdowns, honestly. I just don't see it happening. Like, not his talent. I just don't think it's going to happen kind of game script wise. So it was my value. Harrison Bryant or Jared Cook. I have to kind of start one of them, not in the tight end spot this week in one league. Which one do you lean in? It's tough. Bryant. I think it's Harrison Bryant too, but it's tough. Well, because I'm playing Noah Fant.
Let me pull up my rankings really quick.
Yeah, I'm not a sellout. I have to play Noah Fant. Of course. I will live and die with a sword. He's a top 10 tight end.
Oh, I have him back to back, bro, and I have Cook one spot ahead of Harrison.
I don't even know what league that is, to be honest with you. I think it's Pinnacle.
I will say, with the weather conditions and the way Cook is used versus the way Bryant's used, I would lean Bryant because Cook is the guy. Like, Cook literally gets all of his work on go routes, and I don't think go routes are going to be a go in Chicago.
Boo. I'm trying to find what league this is. I am baffled at this point. What league is this?
Bro, there are too many.
I know, bro. Oh, dude, there's a good reason I asked you this. It's in the Jersey League, so it's actually our decision.
Oh, sweet.
It's me and you. So we go Bryant over Cook?
Yeah, fuck it.
You know what's great? You know what's great? Our flexes are now Myles Gaskin, Harrison Bryant, and Jamal Williams. Gotta fucking love it, boy.
Hey.
Let's get it. Let's get it. We live and die by the sword.
I was just gonna say we live and die by it. We'll die with you, but most of the time we live with you.
That's the hope.
Yes. All right. We're gonna get out of here. Remember to send us your start and sit questions at the Cut FFB in the morning. Randy and I discussed potentially hopping on a stream to answer your questions live. I know I put out a tweet that I asked which people would prefer. It was almost 50-50. I think it was actually 60-40. They'd prefer to just tweet at us and us respond. But I think it's because I framed it as it was just going to be me and no one wants to hear from me. So if Randy joins us, then maybe we'll do a
smart
stream.
comic relief.
Yes. I know we're not going to convince Sean to come on and do a start sit Q&A. So, but all right, let's get out of here. We will come back at you guys next week, next Saturday, I believe. Randy, is that your week? Oh,
Yes.
I might be going solo next week. I haven't.
Yeah, I will be out for a few shows after Tuesday's episode.
Yeah, it's big fucked.
Unless I for some reason decide to bring my laptop and my mic and everything, but I don't think I will.
Yeah, it probably won't happen. I forgot, by the way. And so if you guys want to join me on next Saturday's show, just hit me up at FFBaldman on Twitter. Make sure you guys follow us at the Cut FFB, at FFBaldman, and at Randy_Hall71, and I guess at S4_12. But
if you had to, I guess.
Yeah, if you just had a burning desire to see a lot of bitching about Ohio State and fantasy team. Sean will never watch this.
I hope he watches this one just for that. That's gold.
All right. So for Randy Hall, I am Christian Williams. We'll talk to you guys next week.